Waiting for Harrison, Jamie to join. I'm waiting for Harrison, Jamie to join. Doom, doom, doom. Waiting for Harrison, Jamie to join. What's up, Jesse boy? What's up, Mike? Kicking us off. Just waiting for Harrison to get up on here. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm back in Manchester, trying to stay safe because it's, check that out. Trying to stay safe because it's, a lot of cases here in Manchester. So I'm filming The Voice, social distancing, practicing it. But we have rehearsal today for The Voice this weekend. I wonder what the lockdown in the UK is going to be like. That starts on Thursday. So, for all the folks that are just waking up in the States, good morning. Today's Sunday, and Tuesday is just right around the corner. Put your mask on, boom. That's how we do. That's my mask. That's how we do. That's how we do. Wait a second. Did they change the clocks? Well, my clock is my clock because I'm on the phone. I'm not. Yeah. Hold on. I'll be right back. Wait a second. Hold on. Connecting with Harrison. There you
What's going
go.
on, man? What's going on? I was
How
like,
you
you
doing?
want to accept my request?
No, I did. I was just looking here. I was like trying to find it. I don't really go on IG like that. I sound like my uncle and stuff, but I don't really be like IG live in that often. So
Oh, I hear you, man.
and I really felt like my uncle at the moment, like trying to look to see where the connection was. I'm like, damn, I'm uncling it up right now.
How are you doing, man?
I'm okay, trying to keep my anxiety under control as far as like waiting for Tuesday.
Yeah.
But I'm optimistic. I have faith and hope in people that are gonna go out and do the right thing and get us on the right course.
Yeah. Well, I am too, man. I've been doing this thing now for almost 2 years, and I see the light at the end of the tunnel. And November 3rd can't get here soon enough. I know it's 48 hours or so, but
Mm.
yeah. But I'm excited. I'm glad that uh, we're almost there, and I hope it's the time that we get some change in the state and here in South Carolina, but in the country. So we desperately need it.
Yeah, I was just thinking about all the folks that have, 4 years has been, it's been a very entertaining, distracting, up and down 4 years. It's been a divided 4 years, and a hand on your face, I can't believe our leader is, behaving this way, and uh, everything is about him, and it's a reality TV show. That's been the 4 years. But then the past 9 months has really spelled out the condition of America because of our leadership. And I just was thinking about the families that have lost their loved ones because of
Yeah.
the way that we handled COVID. And then the people that have lost their jobs. Um, and the folks that, because they've lost their jobs, are facing eviction because they can't pay their bills. And all the while, these things, these facts that we have, you know, the boasting and pom-pomming and cheerleading of a stable economy, that to me is just like disgraceful. And it's not. We deserve better.
Yeah. Well, we do, man. I'm here in South Carolina and running against Lindsey Graham, and I lost my aunt this summer, my grand aunt Gladys, because of COVID. She was in a nursing home, and the hardest thing, man, is to not be able to go and hug your loved one as they're passing away, to hold their hand, to be there with them, and that's hard. And so many people across this country are feeling that right now.
Mm.
And we need more sensitivity towards that. We need our leaders to lean into that more. And this is not just some little issue. This is huge. I've never experienced anything like this in my lifetime, and I'm sure many people haven't. And this is a time when you need somebody to proverbially just like hold your hand and say, you know what, it's going to get better. Here's our path forward. This is how we get through this thing. But we just haven't gotten that yet, and that's hard. That's hard.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, man.
What got you into politics in the first place to run for office and play your part? Like,
Yeah.
what got you into that?
I started getting interested in politics when I was a little kid. Nobody in my family was in politics, and not very many folks in my family had a whole lot of education. But my grandfather used to watch the morning news and the evening news, and we only had one TV, so that meant I had to watch the morning news and the evening news too. And so I just got infatuated with the presidency and Congress and all. And I would ask him questions, he would answer them. Now in retrospect, my grandfather probably didn't know what he was talking about, but it sounded good to me then. And then I remember seeing Jesse Jackson in '88 at the Democratic convention, and seeing a black man from South Carolina stand up there and talk about hope and how young people can play a part in making this country a better place. And that just inspired me. It was like the seed that was dropped, right? And from that moment on, I just couldn't get enough of it. And I've seen the power that Washington has, and the power that it has to have a positive impact on the lives of people. And so I started interning. I worked for Congressman Jim Clyburn. I became the chairman of the South Carolina Democratic Party. And after watching the Kavanaugh hearings, I just decided that when Lindsey Graham, my senator, treated Dr. Ford in such a horrible way, I just decided, you know what, enough is enough. I'm throwing my hat in. And so the rest is history, I guess.
Wow, I mean that's inspirational. What about your peers? Did they look at you sideways that you wanted to take a political path?
You know, some of them did, but some of them always knew. I look back in my old, recently, I found one in my old high school yearbooks, and you know how everybody writes a little message and this and that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you know, it shocked me some of the messages that folks wrote, which was, you know, somebody said, "Oh, you're gonna run for president one day, or you're gonna be, you know, governor of South Carolina, this and that." And I just totally forgot about all those things. But it seems like some people always knew, right, that I was going to do something in politics, whereas I was still trying to figure it out. I didn't know. But some, you know, some friends just look at politics in a weird fashion. But for me, you know, every aspect of our life is touched by somebody in elected office.
Yep.
So when you think about, you know, the things you get frustrated about or the things that you get really excited about, you got to make sure that you're electing people who reflect your values. The electing people who are going to fight for you and your family and your communities. And that's why I want to get in there, because when you don't do that, then you're turning that power over to somebody else who may not agree with you in terms of how you look at the world. So it's just important that we all play our part. Either you run for office, or you help people who run for office, or just by going voting. It's really important that we all play our part.
And how? What are your dreams on, and your hopes for, you know, Carolina, and
Yeah.
the next 4 years? Like, how do you, every state contributes to how America as a whole moves forward, but just from your viewpoint in the area that you are going to be in service of, like, what are your hopes and dreams for South Carolina?
Yeah, you know, man, I'm just hoping to bring hope back. You know, when I look back on my life, will.i.am, you know, when I look back on it, you know, my mom was 16 when she had me. She dropped out of high school. And I was raised by my grandparents that had a fourth grade and eighth grade education. My grandma picked cotton and worked in textile plants. My grandfather did construction. And so, you know, people say, well, we all started at the starting line. I didn't start at the starting line. I started 10 miles behind the starting line. But you know, the greatness about this country, man, is it doesn't matter where you started, don't matter what you look like, doesn't matter who you pray to, who you love, or what have you. You can still live your dream. And
Mhm.
what I'm fighting for, and what I want South Carolina, and how I want South Carolina to transform, is to make sure that every young kid who grew up like I did, or grown up in their own way, get an opportunity to live their dream. It's about bringing hope back to these communities. It's about letting folks know that their brighter days are ahead of us and not behind us. And so, what I hope with my election is that, and the election on the presidential level, you know, with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, is that we usher in what I call the New South. A New South that is bold, that's inclusive, that's diverse, where all of our voices and experiences should be valued. And I think that's what we really need at this point. You know, the perception of South Carolina, the perception of the South is something that hurts me when I hear what other people think of it. Because I know that this state is a great state with good people. We just happen to have the wrong leadership. And that's why I'm in this race, is to change that leadership and bring the right type of leadership so that we can move our state and our region forward.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that if America was to, make products like the thing that I have in my hand right now, if America was to, like, lead again in manufacturing, that South Carolina is the starting point, because a lot of the manufacturing that we do in America is in North and South Carolina.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, man, and you know, when I really, really think about all of this, you know, I tell folks here in South Carolina that we're on the verge of making history. We all know the history, right? The history of this country, and history is not always a pleasant one. But you know, South Carolina definitely doesn't have a pleasant history. But we can now make history in this race, in all of these races. So this seat that I'm running for was the seat of John C. Calhoun. It was the seat of Strom Thurmond. This was the seat of a man called Ben Pitchfork Tillman, who would go to the floor of the U.S. Senate and talk about the joys of lynching of black folks. You know, 40% of enslaved people in this country came here through the port of Charleston. South Carolina was the first state to secede from the Union because of the issue of slavery. But in this election on Tuesday, we got the opportunity to elect an African American to the United States Senate, and South Carolina will become the first state with 2 black senators serving at the same time. And that, to me, man, is progress. That's about moving into this new South. One will be a Democrat, one will be Republican. And so, and I mean, we have the history of electing Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for the first time, having an African American woman as vice president of the United States. I mean, that's amazing. And so I think we need to step into the light. We need to step into the future and build a brighter future for our kids. And I think this election we can do that.
Can I ask you a question? I hope that I'm just going to ask you, and then I'll reply with after you give the answer. So when people say, you know, Barack Obama didn't do anything for the black community, like, what is that? How does that strike you? And I just want to know your viewpoint on that.
Yeah. Well, hey, Barack Obama did a lot for the black community. He did a lot for all communities. I mean, right now, 28 million people in this country have health care when they didn't have it before. And that's tremendous. And I can tell you, man, the power of having health care. My grandfather, who I love so dearly, worked almost all of his life and never had health care. He had a job and they did not provide any health care. And so he ended up with undiagnosed diabetes, which then led to complications. He had to get part of his leg amputated, toes amputated, and eventually he passed away because of complications with diabetes. There are people right now in this country who are suffering in silence because of the lack of health care coverage. And it is a human right. It is a right that all Americans have. And we did not have that until Barack Obama became president and made it happen. And so we got to do all that we can in order to strengthen that, to build on that, to make it better so that, again, those who fall through the holes are covered. And so, you know, I think President Obama was a tremendous president. He will be looked on as one of our greats. And so I think, you know, in terms of the growth of the black middle class, in terms of taking us out of the downturn that we were in the economy, because, you know, when the economy is bad, black people suffer more than anybody else. But it was President Obama to help with that, help to get people to increase home ownership. And really, to be honest, it's President Trump that is benefiting from the foundation that was set during the, in terms of the economy, during the Obama years. And so I think that President Obama has a lot to be proud of. And there's a lot that we should be proud of him about or for.
Yeah, I feel exactly the same way. I think Obama did an amazing job, and if you think about the state of America that was handed to him and Vice President Biden and how they stabilized the economy, and had he only looked at the black community, the rest of America wouldn't have stabilized.
Yeah.
So he had to govern from, I am an American. And by doing that, he stabilized not only the black community, but the entire United States of America. And it's a marathon. And his, you know, the idea and the actuality of Barack Obama, first black president, bulldozed doors open for other African Americans who follow those footsteps. Kamala Harris being the first African American, you know, vice president nominee, soon to be the first African American vice president. Barack Obama helped open those doors.
Yep.
So, and it's a marathon.
Yep.
It's been a long time coming. It's been too long, but here we are, and here we go. And
yeah.
Well,
man, tell me about the vote love song. I mean, man, that is amazing. Just what was the message behind that? What inspired you guys to work on that?
So in 2008, I did the "Yes We Can" song.
Yep, man,
to
I
help
remember
rally
that.
folks, inspire for Barack Obama. And in 2020, people were asking me to do a song, and earlier on in the year, even the mid 2019, people were asking me, "Am I going to do something this election year?" And I was, it wasn't clear to me on how I was going to do that. And then one day, I realized the path. I saw, what I needed to contribute and how I needed to, try my hardest to inspire, um, to remind people what's at stake. So I came from the perspective of our song "Where's the Love,"
Mm-hmm.
that we wrote back in 2001 after 9/11, because there's parts of that song that mirror Biden's speech at the DNC,
Yep.
and that's on racial injustice and just the horrific things that um, we Black people have to go through in America. Not now, but even in my grandmother's time and my grandmother's grandmother's time. Just this hatred towards folks that helped build the country. It's one thing if we were just here and a nuisance. It's one thing if we were just here and didn't contribute. Like, how you hate people that help build it. To me, that's just like the most ignorant thing in the world. Like, and so I wanted to do my part. And so, I sat with it for a couple of weeks and, you know, made it to where, what is the melody that I'm going to put on top of his speech? And it all came together. And the power of, seeing, having visuals to what is being said,
Yeah.
verbatim is really powerful. And I tried to not only make it for Democrats, but speak to Republicans as well. Where's the Love is a 100% song, meaning Republicans like it, Democrats like it.
Mm-hmm.
Green Party like it, independent people like it. It's a 100% record. And so the thing I was worried about was altering it for a particular party.
Yep.
And that was the part was like that as a parent of the song, that was the hardest part. Is you know, I because when we perform, there's all types of people in the audience. There's Black, there's white, there's Latino, there's Asian. Everyone around the world since 2003 when it came out has gravitated to that song. It's not just a Democratic song. It's a human song.
Human song.
So by
Yeah.
making that, by and that's the area that I came at it from. It's like, yes, Joe Biden is a Democratic, you know, um, vice president and running for the presidency of the United States. And his words, when I listen to them, are not Democratic to me. That is a person talking about, the values of our society and humanity with morals. And from that perspective, let's do this. Let's move the party lines out of the way. Let's not get in, and I know it's hard to imagine that when you're making it to help somebody get elected. But if you just listen to the words and listen to like the cry out, listen to like the sentiment of what it is we are reaching for, then forget the Democrat, forget the Republican. This is humanity. And that's one thing that, Trump as a leader, he doesn't have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
Everything is party lines.
Yeah.
Everything is, about himself. And
Well, and I find the same thing with Lindsey Graham, man. And just in our debate we had last night, everything was about conservative or liberal or Democrats versus Republicans and putting blame. This is about, this is a time in this country where we all need to come together. We really do. As I say from the start, it's not about Democrats or Republicans or progressives versus conservatives. It's about doing what's right versus what's wrong. And there's so much anxiety right now and fear in these communities that people just want a reprieve from all of the food fight that you get in Washington, D.C. They just want folks to come up with some solutions to help them. And they don't care if it's a Democratic solution or Republican solution. But you need the right type of leader. You need somebody who can look past the partisan divides and actually go forward and deal with the issues that people are dealing with. And so I can tell you that song, man, just has so much heartbeat. I mean, you just feel it. And
mm,
thank you for doing it. It really, when somebody sent it to me, and I just sat back and I was like, this is exactly right. Like this is what we need right now. So I just want to tell you, man, I'm sure you're getting it from a lot of people, but thank you.
Yeah, at first we were, you know, our whole goal was to get as many views as yes we can on the Obama page. So there's an Obama page on YouTube, and that, has 27 million views. And we try to, race as much as possible to reach those numbers, because what that means is people are sharing it, people are watching it.
Mm-hmm.
And the first 3 days we were sending it out, like reaching out to people, sending, tweets, DMs, emails, text messages with the link. And by day 3, things were coming back to me. People were sharing it with, yo, Will, I love what you did here. And so in 4 or 5 days, we reached our 25 million mark. And now we, over 30 million in a week. That means people are sharing it. People are
Yep.
being moved by it. And that energy is what they're taking to the to the booth to vote, to drop in their ballot. And that to me is like, okay, I I I I contributed, I've done my part, I voted, um, and hopefully we could get on the right course, because technology, and the reason why I bring technology up and the importance of North and South Carolina, and the factories that they have there that make awesome stuff. Um, the combination of a united America, a whole new American dream as far as like our ambition and what it is we want to, contribute to society, and how everyone should be paid equally. Oppor- Opportunities in our communities should be from an equal perspective. Zoning, so that folks are healthy, and FDA does their fair share to not, allow poison food in our blocks, to then
Mm-hmm.
have them take medicine to cure them from that poison food. All they had to do from the beginning is make sure that it's zoned properly to where healthy food is in the neighborhood. Um, Hopefully, we could get to that place, because you know we are not educating our kids and preparing them for tomorrow. That's very
Yep.
technological tomorrow, and so
Well,
that's
that's a big point, man. We got 38% of rural communities here in South Carolina that don't have broadband. Think about that. 38% of these communities don't have any broadband. I mean, this is 2020. It's not 1920. And it's just now Lindsey Graham starting to talk about, well, the internet, and I got a bill. Well, the only reason why you have a bill, dude, is because I've been talking about it for 2 years now.
mm,
Uh, and the kids who suffer the most are the ones that are in poor communities and typically is communities of color. And how do we expect our kids to compete with the rest of the world when they can't even connect with the rest of the world?
yeah,
And
especially now when people are even learning from home. How are people
exactly,
going to learn from home and they ain't got the internet?
they can't. They can't. And so our kids will fall further and further behind. And they're already in schools that are under resourced, right? They already have teachers that aren't getting paid enough. I mean, they already have technology that's 10 years behind, the rich suburban schools. And so our kids continue to fall farther and further behind. And we got to address that. We got to do better. But that's why we got to have better leadership. Leaders who actually care that that's a problem. Because I really don't think that some of them care. It's not impacted them, and so therefore it's fine. But it's not fine with me.
Yeah. So thank you so much for stepping up
Thank you,
and
brother.
running for office. I'm proud of you. You're a huge inspiration, and thank you for acknowledging, you know, me and my team, Sarah Raymaker, Sarah Pantera. Thank you so much, Sally Olmstead, Sterling, all the folks that help make this video a reality. Ron Conway, the coach. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Lorraine Powell Jobs, thank you for the push. Everyone that you know had their hand in making the love to help get Joe Biden elected. And the love is also for Jamie Harrison. You know,
Thank you, brother.
feel free.
Thank you.
It's something. And if there's anything you need from me in the future, I'm not from South Carolina, but I'm American. And you know, anytime you need, you know, somebody to help amplify, you know, I'm all for folks that want to push things forward and bring opportunities to those that don't.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Well, you know, and for the folks who are watching, you know, folks, make sure you go vote. I mean, it is, if you haven't voted yet, please go vote. And one of the things that you can do is text WIN to 30330. And that's the word win. And, you know, the campaign can give you more information about voting and all. You know, we can make history with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. We can make history here in South Carolina. And, you know, that's so important. And, you know, I'll close this, man, with just saying, here in South Carolina, our state motto is "While I breathe, I hope." While I breathe, I hope. And what I tell folks is, if they're really serious about hope, then let's change our motto just for the next 2 days, right? Until we get to election. If you want to bring hope to South Carolina, you want to bring hope back to America, then you got to go vote. So for the next 2 days, our motto for the country should be, "While I breathe, I vote," because that is how we bring hope back to South Carolina. That's how we bring hope back to America.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Well, thank you, brother. I really appreciate you letting me join on your IG Live this morning. And again, if I can ever help here in South Carolina, don't hesitate to reach out to me too.
You got it.
Okay, brother. You take care of yourself and stay safe.
All right. Be safe. You too.
Okay.